A new heist thriller starring Ben Affleck, Oscar Isaac, and several more familiar faces has dropped on Netflix. So let's talk about it. When a group of highly skilled military veterans decide to rob a drug lord, things spiral out of control as their morals are pushed to the test. This is a Netflix original film that has already dropped on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, after you watch my review, you can go and watch this movie right now. With that said, go ahead and tell me down in the comment section, what did you think about the film? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did it live up to your expectations? All of that fun stuff. Let's have a nice lively discussion, and let's start talking about the good. And the best thing about this film is that it is a very focused film. It is all about the heist and the thrills that come from the consequences of that heist. In each scene, you know what our characters are trying to accomplish. You might not always know their loyalties or what's kind of going on behind the scenes, but you always know what they're trying to do in the moment. As a thriller, it did keep me on the edge of my seat almost from the beginning of the film to the end of it. The way it's structured, I mean, it's 30 minutes of setup and then 90 minutes of heist and escape, thrills, all the stuff that you came to this film to get. And because it's a focused and efficient film, everything that's said during the setup have some sort of payoff throughout the heist or the escape. You remember what their plan was because there's not a bunch of noise. You remember the important details. Likewise, as you're going into the heist and the escape, as they make choices, you remember how that ties back to the plan, or you know, oh, this is going to haunt them in the future. Here's probably the biggest compliment I can give this film is that I was watching it at home, obviously, and I mean, I was not picking up my phone, I wasn't picking up my laptop. If my wife started to talk to me or my baby started to cry, I paused the film because I was fully engaged and I did not want to miss anything that was happening. It delivered the experience that I wanted and kept me watching. With that said, let's move on to the mixed aspects of this film. And the big thing that comes to mind is the cast. Now, this is a great set of 5 actors to put in this type of movie, and all of them get a lot of screen time. They're basically all together for most of the runtime of the entire film. So if you want a bunch of Garrett Hedlund, you get a bunch of Garrett Hedlund. The problem here is that the characters aren't written to have a lot of characterization. There's not a lot of distinct things about them. They're all kind of serious military guys in a tense situation. So you couldn't really describe a bunch of their character qualities. You could just say a few things about them. And they're also not given a bunch of big actor moments. So as you watch the film, they do a perfectly fine job with the characters that they are given, with the material they are given, but at the same time you're thinking, they could have played any other character inside of the movie and anyone else could have been swapped out to play any one of these characters. A lot of times with movies like this that have very strong ensembles, I'll say the movie works because of the cast. That's not really the case here. They're all perfectly fine in these roles, but the movie works because it's an efficient heist thriller. And to that point, this is a heist thriller, not an action movie. There is some action in it, but it's much more about the thrills that come from the heist rather than big action sequences. With that said, let's move on to the bad. And I don't really have any major issues with the film. It just all feels a little bit familiar. Like you've seen this type of movie many times before. The central themes about the consequences of greed, we've seen that before. A heist movie about a bunch of skilled people trying to steal some stuff from even worse guys, we've seen that before. So it's not reinventing the genre or doing something wildly fresh and new. Also, it's never quite as good as it should be. The cast isn't as good as they could be. The characters aren't as fleshed out as they could be. The action isn't as exciting as it could be. And the emotional scenes don't hit quite as hard as they probably should. This isn't a home run for the heist genre, but I would say it is a solid double. For me, it delivered the experience that I wanted. I got what I wanted out of this film, but not a whole lot more than that. Overall, I'd give it a B. I'd say it's a 7.5 out of 10, and I'd say if you like the trailer, it's worth watching on Netflix. If you enjoyed this review, consider clicking that subscribe button down below. There's also some more fun videos right over there that you might like. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much.